There comes a moment in life, subtle yet undeniable, when everything begins to feel different. It may start as a whisper in the back of your mind, a nagging sense that something in the world around you no longer fits. The routines you once followed without question now feel empty. The conversations that once excited you now seem shallow. And somewhere deep inside you sense that there is something more, a greater truth, a deeper reality, waiting just beyond the veil. But here's the secret. This is not just a passing thought. It's the first sign that your consciousness is shifting, expanding beyond the ordinary perception of reality. You are awakening. Ancient mystics, philosophers, and spiritual seekers across time have described this shift as a profound journey, one that alters how you see yourself, others, and the very fabric of existence. The Buddha spoke of enlightenment as waking from a dream. The Gnostics believed the material world was a veil, hiding the divine spark within. Indigenous shamans say that true vision only comes when the mind is free from illusions. And now, in this very moment, it's happening to you. But awakening is not always what we expect. It doesn't arrive with fanfare. There is no grand announcement. Often it comes disguised as confusion, restlessness, or even suffering. It's as if the universe is whispering, urging you to see beyond what you have been conditioned to believe. In this video we will explore the signs that you are awakening to a higher consciousness. Some of these signs will be subtle, others will shake you to your core, and one in particular, sign #3, is so profound that most people overlook it entirely, mistaking it for something mundane. But once you recognize it, you will never see the world the same way again. Are you ready to step beyond the ordinary? The eternal quest for higher consciousness. From the dawn of human civilization, there have been those who sensed that reality was far more than what meets the eye. Across cultures, continents, and centuries, the search for higher consciousness has been an eternal human pursuit, shrouded in mystery, encoded in sacred texts, and preserved by secretive orders of seekers. The ancient call to awakening. In the depths of India's ancient forests, sages meditated in silence, seeking to transcend the illusions of the material world. The Upanishads, some of the oldest spiritual texts in existence, describe the moment of awakening as seeing through the veil of Maya, the illusion that binds human perception. According to Hindu philosophy, those who awaken realize that they are not separate beings struggling in an unforgiving world, but rather expressions of the divine consciousness itself. The Buddhists call this realization nirvana, the moment when one transcends the cycle of suffering and recognizes the illusion of the ego. The Buddha himself described enlightenment as the moment one wakes up from a dream, the same way a person realizes they were asleep only when they open their eyes to the morning sun. In ancient Egypt, the mystery schools of Thoth and Isis taught initiates the sacred path to higher wisdom. These teachings were not for the ordinary person. They were reserved for those who had proven themselves ready to leave behind the mundane and embrace the mysteries of the cosmos. Egyptian spirituality taught that the physical world was but a shadow of a much greater reality, and that those who were truly awakened could access knowledge hidden from ordinary sight. The Hermetic tradition, emerging from Egypt and later influencing Western mysticism, declared a profound truth: as above, so below; as within, so without. This statement hints at a deep secret: the universe is not something separate from you, you are an extension of it. To awaken is to realize that what you seek has always been within. The Gnostic revelation: reality is not what it seems. The Gnostics, early mystical Christians who were later persecuted and branded as heretics, believed that the material world was a prison, a false reality designed to keep souls trapped in ignorance. To them, awakening was not simply a spiritual experience, it was an act of rebellion, a breaking free from the illusion of the physical world, and a return to divine knowledge. Their belief echoes the allegory of the cave, a powerful metaphor given by the Greek philosopher Plato. In his writings, Plato describes a group of people who have lived their entire lives chained inside a cave, facing a wall. Behind them, a fire casts shadows on the wall, and these shadows become their reality. They do not know that beyond the cave, a vast and brilliant world exists. One day, a prisoner breaks free and steps outside. The light is blinding at first, but as his vision adjusts, he sees the truth: the world is far greater than the shadows he once mistook for reality. This is the essence of awakening. What we have been taught to believe about life, the self, and the world is often just shadows on a wall, To awaken is to turn around, break free from illusion, and step into the unknown. The alchemists and the hidden transformation. The medieval alchemists, often dismissed as mere seekers of gold, were in truth concerned with something far greater, the transformation of the soul. Their cryptic texts spoke of transmuting lead into gold, but this was not a literal process. It was symbolic. Lead represented the unawakened mind, heavy and weighed down by illusion. Gold symbolized the enlightened state, pure, luminous, and untouchable by corruption. One of their core teachings was the concept of solve et coagula, dissolve and reconstitute. In order to awaken, one must first dissolve all illusions, breaking apart everything they once believed to be true. Only then can they rebuild themselves with higher understanding. The hidden path in modern times. Though modern society no longer burns books or imprisons mystics, the veil of illusion remains as strong as ever. The distractions are different but just as effective. The endless pursuit of material wealth, the constant stimulation of social media, the numbing routines that keep people too busy to ask questions. Yet despite all of this, awakening still happens. And when it does, it changes everything. This brings us to the core signs that you are experiencing this transformation. Some are obvious, while others are so subtle that most people overlook them entirely. But each one is a signal, a message from the universe, that you are beginning to see beyond the veil. Let's begin with the first set of signs. The process of awakening is not a single event. It is a gradual unfolding, like the petals of a lotus opening to the morning sun. At first, the changes may seem small, almost unnoticeable. But if you pay attention, you will begin to see the patterns, the subtle shifts that indicate something profound is happening within you. Sign 1. The feeling that something is off. Have you ever found yourself looking at the world and feeling that something isn't right? You can't explain it, but deep inside you sense that the reality presented to you doesn't tell the full story. This is one of the earliest and most important signs of awakening. It is the inner dissonance that arises when your deeper self starts recognizing the illusion of the world. At first, this can feel like restlessness, frustration, or even sadness. You might question things that you once accepted without hesitation. Why do people chase money and status, yet remain unfulfilled? Why does society push certain narratives while suppressing others? Why do you feel a strange disconnect from the people around you? This feeling is not a curse, it is an invitation. Your consciousness is beginning to rebel against the programming that has shaped your perception of reality. Ancient traditions call this moment the crack in the illusion, when the mind starts to realize that it has been living inside a constructed narrative. The next step, following this feeling instead of suppressing it. Most people ignore it and return to their old ways. But if you listen closely, you will begin to see the world as it truly is. Sign 2. A shift in your relationships and social circles. As your consciousness expands, you may notice something strange. The people around you no longer feel the same. Conversations that once felt exciting now seem empty. Relationships that used to feel important begin to fade. At first, this can be unsettling. You might feel like you are drifting away from your friends, family, or community. But in truth, what's happening is a vibrational shift. You are no longer operating at the same frequency as before. Think of it like an old radio station. You have been tuned to a specific frequency your entire life, engaging with people, ideas, and experiences that match that level. But as your consciousness rises, you naturally shift to a different station. Those who are still tuned to the old frequency will no longer resonate with you, and that's okay. This is why so many spiritual seekers experience periods of loneliness during awakening. But this is temporary. As you continue on this path, you will begin to attract people who match your new level of awareness, souls who share your depth, your curiosity, and your hunger for truth. Do not fear the loss of old connections. It is making space for something far greater. Sign 3. The collapse of old beliefs. Most people ignore this one. This is the sign that most people resist, the moment when everything you once believed begins to fall apart. At some point in your awakening, you will experience a deep internal crisis. You will begin questioning the foundations of your reality, the belief systems you were raised with, the narratives you were taught about success, happiness, and meaning, the very nature of your own identity. This moment is often terrifying. It can feel like losing your sense of self, as if the ground beneath you is crumbling. But this is not the end. It is the beginning. Ancient spiritual traditions describe this phase as the dark night of the soul, a period of intense internal upheaval that clears away illusions to make room for deeper truth. It is like a caterpillar dissolving in its cocoon before emerging as a butterfly. The mistake many people make is clinging to the old beliefs out of fear, but the key to true awakening is to let go, to allow the transformation to happen without resistance. If you find yourself in this phase, trust the process. The breaking down of old beliefs is necessary for the birth of a new understanding, and what comes next is beyond anything you have ever imagined. This is just the beginning of the signs of awakening, but as you can see, the process is not always comfortable. It is a death and rebirth, the shedding of old identities, illusions and attachments in order to step into a greater reality. But this journey does not end here. There are more signs that indicate your consciousness is expanding, and some of them reveal even deeper secrets about the nature of existence. Let's continue. As you move further along the path of awakening, the shifts become more profound. At first, you might have questioned the world around you. Then, you notice changes in your relationships and the collapse of old beliefs. But what happens next is even more mysterious. Your perception of reality itself begins to change. Sign 4. Time feels different. Have you ever had moments where time seemed to slow down or speed up in ways that felt unnatural? Perhaps certain days feel stretched, while others vanish in the blink of an eye. Maybe you've even had experiences where time itself felt irrelevant, as if you were moving through reality outside of the normal flow of past, present, and future. This is one of the deeper signs of awakening. Your relationship with time begins to shift. Spiritual traditions across the world speak of time as an illusion. The ancient Hindus described the material world as Maya, a dreamlike construct where time is not fixed but fluid. Einstein himself confirmed that time is relative, bending and shifting based on perception and experience. As you awaken, you begin to step outside of linear time. You no longer feel bound by rigid schedules, artificial deadlines, or the frantic rush of modern life. Instead, you enter a more synchronous flow, a state where events seem to unfold at exactly the right moment. This is why many people on the path of awakening begin experiencing synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem too perfect to be random. These events are not coincidences at all. They are signs that you are aligning with a deeper rhythm of existence, one that moves beyond the illusion of clock time. Sign 5. Heightened sensitivity to energy. As your consciousness expands, you become more attuned to the unseen energies that exist all around you. You might notice that certain places feel heavy or draining while others feel uplifting. You can sense people's emotions and intentions, even if they don't say a word. You feel a deeper connection with nature, animals, and even the energy of the universe itself. This is because awakening sharpens your intuitive perception. The veil that once kept you disconnected from the deeper reality is lifting, allowing you to perceive things beyond the physical. Many who go through this phase describe experiencing sudden bursts of insight or deep intuitive knowing, as if the answers to complex questions are simply downloaded into their mind. Others report feeling energy shifts in their body, such as tingling sensations, sudden waves of warmth, or an expanded awareness of the space around them. In ancient teachings, this heightened sensitivity was associated with the third eye opening, a metaphor for seeing beyond the material world and into the energetic fabric of reality. However, this newfound awareness can also be overwhelming. If you are experiencing this, it is important to ground yourself, spend time in nature, practice deep breathing, and avoid overstimulation from chaotic environments. Sign 6. The dissolution of the ego, the most challenging stage. This is perhaps the most difficult and yet most liberating phase of awakening. The realization that the self you believed yourself to be is an illusion. At first, this idea can feel unsettling. After all, we spend our entire lives identifying with our name, our personality, our achievements, our failures. But as you awaken, you begin to see through this constructed identity. You realize that you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are not even your body. Who then are you? This question is at the heart of every mystical tradition. The Zen masters call it the Great Inquiry. The Sufi poets speak of the annihilation of the self, where the illusion of individuality dissolves, revealing only the infinite. This is the moment when you begin to experience oneness, a state where you no longer feel separate from others, from nature, or from the universe itself. The boundaries between me and everything else start to fade, and you sense a profound interconnectedness with all of existence. This is what the great spiritual teachers have always spoken of. Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." Lao Tzu taught that when you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. The Buddha described enlightenment as the blowing out of the flame of illusion. But here's the challenge. The ego resists this realization. It does not want to dissolve. It will create fear, doubt, and even suffering to hold on to its false identity. Many who reach this stage experience what feels like an internal battle, a struggle between the old self that wants to remain in control and the deeper truth that is emerging. The key is to surrender, to let go of the need to define yourself, to control outcomes, to cling to old identities. When you do, something extraordinary happens. You become free. The final stage, living as a conscious being. Once you move through these phases of awakening, you begin to experience life in a completely new way. You are no longer bound by the illusions that once controlled you. You move with clarity, intuition, and deep inner peace. This does not mean life becomes perfect or without challenges, but it does mean that you are no longer lost in the dream. You see reality for what it is, and you move through it with awareness, purpose, and an unshakable sense of presence. At this stage you live with less fear because you understand that the ego is just a construct. Experience more synchronicity as you align with the flow of the universe. Feel a deep inner stillness even in the middle of chaos. Realize that you are not separate from the world. You are the world experiencing itself. This is what it means to awaken. But awakening is not a destination, it is a continuous unfolding. Each day brings deeper realizations, new challenges, and greater expansion. The journey never truly ends. How to navigate your awakening. Awakening is a profound transformation, but it is not always easy. It can be disorienting, confusing, and even painful as you let go of old identities, beliefs, and attachments. Many people struggle during this phase because they don't have the tools to navigate the shift. But here's the truth. You don't have to go through this alone. Spiritual teachers, ancient traditions, and awakened souls throughout history have left behind powerful techniques to help you integrate your awakening into daily life. Here are some of the most effective practices to support you on your journey. 1. Develop a daily awareness practice. The first step in anchoring your awakening is to cultivate awareness. The world is full of distractions designed to pull you back into unconsciousness, fear-based news, endless social media, mind-numbing entertainment. Without a practice of awareness, it's easy to slip back into the illusion. To counter this, set aside time each day for silent observation. Spend 10-15 minutes just watching your thoughts without judgment. This allows you to separate from the mind and see the patterns that shape your perception. Presence exercises throughout the day. Pause and ask yourself, am I fully here? This simple question brings you back to the present moment. Nature connection. Spend time in nature without distractions. Walk barefoot on the earth, listen to the wind, or simply observe the beauty around you. Nature naturally aligns you with a higher state of consciousness. The goal is not to force awakening but to create space for it to unfold naturally. 2. Question everything you assume to be true. One of the most powerful tools for deepening your awakening is radical self-inquiry. Every belief you hold about yourself, the world, and reality was given to you by society, culture, and upbringing. But are these beliefs true? Or are they just mental programs that shape how you see the world? To practice this, try the following. Choose one belief you have. For example, success means making money. Ask, where did this belief come from? Did you decide this for yourself, or was it taught to you? Ask, what happens if I let go of this belief? Does your world fall apart, or does a new perspective open up? This exercise breaks the conditioning that keeps you trapped in old ways of thinking. The more beliefs you challenge, the freer your mind becomes. 3. Trust the synchronicities. Once you begin awakening, the universe communicates with you through signs, symbols, and synchronicities. These can appear as repeating numbers 11, 11, 222, 333. Uncanny coincidences, sudden intuitive insights, dreams that feel like messages. Many dismiss these as random events, but the awakened mind sees them for what they truly are: guidance. Whenever you notice synchronicities, pause and ask, what was I thinking about when this happened? What message might this be bringing me? Am I being guided in a certain direction? Over time you will realize that life is not random. It is a deeply intelligent system that responds to your awareness. 4. Let go of the need for external validation. One of the hardest parts of awakening is realizing that most people are not ready to wake up. You may feel isolated, misunderstood, or even rejected by those who are still deeply attached to the old way of thinking. Here's what you must remember: your awakening is for you. You don't need permission from society, family, or friends to evolve, and you don't need everyone to understand your journey. Instead of seeking validation, focus on becoming your own source of truth. The more you trust your inner knowing, the less you will need approval from the outside world. 5. Balance your awakening with practical living. Many people make the mistake of thinking that spiritual awakening means abandoning the physical world. They withdraw from society, avoid responsibilities, or seek isolation in the mountains. But true awakening is not about escaping life. It is about bringing higher consciousness into everyday existence. Stay grounded. Do not reject the physical world. Integrate your awakening into it. Use your insights to uplift others, not by preaching but by embodying wisdom in your actions. Balance intuition with logic. Spirituality and reason are not enemies. They are tools that work together. By blending higher awareness with practical living, you become a bridge between the seen and the unseen, a conscious being who walks the world with clarity, purpose, and depth. Trust the process. Awakening is not something you control, it is something that unfolds in its own time. Some days you may feel deeply connected to higher consciousness. Other days you may feel lost, confused, or even frustrated. This is normal. The key is to trust the process. No matter how chaotic or uncertain the journey feels, you are being guided. The very fact that you are aware of this transformation means that you are ready for it. So, take a deep breath, let go of fear, and step fully into the truth of who you are. You are awakening. Not because you watched this video, not because someone told you that you are, but because deep inside you already know it. You feel it in the way the world no longer seems as solid as it once did, in the way your thoughts, emotions, and even time itself feel different. You sense that there is more to reality, more to yourself, more to this entire existence than what you were once led to believe. This is the journey of higher consciousness, not a destination but an unfolding. And now the choice is yours. Will you ignore the signs and retreat back into the illusion? Or will you step forward embracing the unknown, trusting that something far greater awaits you? The truth is, you have already chosen. If you were not ready for this path, you would not have found this message. The universe has led you here for a reason. But remember, this awakening is not about escaping life. It is about seeing it clearly. It is about moving through the world with awareness, embracing both the light and the shadows, and recognizing that everything, every challenge, every synchronicity, every moment is part of the grand design leading you toward your highest self. So as you move forward, carry this with you. You are not alone. Many have walked this path before and many walk it with you now. You are not lost. Every step, even the difficult ones, is guiding you exactly where you need to be. You are not separate. The entire universe is within you, waiting to be remembered. And the next time you see a sign, feel a shift, or experience a moment of deep inner knowing, don't ignore it. It is your higher self whispering, keep going. If this message resonated with you, let us know in the comments. Have you experienced any of these signs? What has your awakening journey been like? Share your story and let's continue this conversation together. Until next time, stay aware, stay present, and trust the journey.